Well, Sunday and my bike's filthy, so it's time to give it a wash and grease the chain. I've been halfway through it already, as you can see. I've washed the worst of the dirt. A wee tip when you want to grease your chain, if you're washing your bike, grease your chain after it, always do it. Give a chain a wash, but don't hold the gun too close. Just hold it at a distance, you know, like that, to get the grime off it. And just turn the wheel with your foot. And that'll get the worst of the grime off. Yeah, and then once it's dried, you can degrease it, no degrease it. Once it's dried, you can put your chain lube on. Now, another thing, when I'm washing my bike, I'll show you what I use. This stuff, I've got water on my screen. This stuff is fantastic, wheel cleaner. It's cheap as chips, $5. Spray on, hose it off, and what I do is I clean my wheels with it, and the good part of the bike, it doesn't do any damage, it doesn't bugger up seals or anything, it's just a cleaner. So here's what I do. Give it a good shake, spray it on, and it comes in a nice foam. Spray your wheels and your tyres, spray your brake calipers, and here, you know, get all your suspension done, like that. Spray your exhaust. Like I say, I've been using this stuff for years. Sprayed the lens again, and it doesn't do any damage. Spray everything that you're going to wash. I don't spray the chain with it. I never did, it wouldn't really matter too much. Engine guards, everything, absolutely everything. It's good for your calipers. Gets right in there, removes all the shit. With your spotlights, frame, engine. Give it all a good liberal spray. You maybe use, I don't know, a third of the can per wash, which works out quite cheap. And just let that set in for a minute or so, like that. Really good stuff, apart from foam everywhere. And then what I'll do is I'll rinse that off, and once it's rinsed off, then I'll cover it in soap and give it a proper wash, because it puts a wee wax coating back on. Now when I've washed it, I put my soap attachment on and give the bike a good soaping over. Then I'll let it sit for a while, 5 minutes, let the soap soak in, and then rinse it off, and it gets all the wheel cleaner, it gets everything off, and it ends up spotless. Then a wee run round the block to dry the chain and grease it. Another job I like to do is take my old chamois leather and just run over it. It takes any final marks off it. You know, if you do your screen and lights, it takes all the watermarks off, or at least most of them. Dry the seat a wee bit. See how well the exhaust came up. And the bike was, you didn't see it. I should have shot the video at the beginning when it was really filthy. You couldn't actually see the colour of the bike for dirt because the roads going to work are really bad, and I use this bike every day. But there you go. It's as good as new. As good as new. Now, I know what some people say. Some people will tell you, oh, you're stupid taking a pressure washer to a bike, and you're going to get water into all the joints and into the seals and into everything. I ride my bike every day of the week, going to rain, sun, wind, rain, shine, whatever. And some days it absolutely pisses it down with rain. Like, I mean, torrential rain. Absolutely torrential. And yet my bike's fine. Running it with a pressure washer does not do any harm to a bike. You know, unless you're sticking the jet right into a seal or into a bearing and destroying the rubber. But apart from that, washing your bike does absolutely no harm. I've done it all my life and I've never had a problem with doing it. Apart from once when the bike didn't start and I found it was discharging somewhere, and it just so happened that I washed it at the same time, and yeah, wouldn't start. But that was some of the problems I was having with this KTM till I put the gel battery in. But she's running absolutely fantastic now with the gel battery. So anyway, what I'll do now is I'll run it around the block, bring it in, and then I'll give the chain a quick grease, and that should do it. So I've been a run up to Woolies and back. You can see the bike's nice and clean. So the next thing I need to do is grease the chain. And here's the way I do it. So when I'm greasing my chain, I use my trusty old Bellray chain grease. It's a non-fling, so once it's on your chain, leave it for 20 minutes or more, and it actually sets and it doesn't fling off, which is good. It doesn't get your wheels covered in shit. So I always grease it around about here on this runner. So what I'll do is I put a rag in here, covering everything, and I'll put another rag, I'll put another rag on this side, just so as it's covering everything here, because I don't want to get all over the bike. And what I do, give it a good shake and start spraying. And as you're spraying, turn the wheel, just do it nice and slowly, there's no rush. And once you're back to the beginning, stop. And that's it. Take your rags out, clean up each bit of the side. Take that rag out, clean that wee runner there, and there you're done. So it's all greased, all the way around. So what you're really greasing for is in between here and here, there's rubber seals. You can just see them. There's rubber seals, so inside there's grease, so they're all self-greased. So all you're doing when you clean it is to get the dirt out of there so as the rubbers don't get damaged. And these rollers here, they spin round. So when you put a bit of that grease on, it soaks in there and it helps it spin. But this stuff, the Bellray, is good because you put it on, you leave it for at least 20 minutes till it sets, and as I say, it won't fling off. So every time I do my chain every 500 kilometers. I've done about 12,000 so far, and it's not bad. Other things to check is the brake discs. Now, I don't know if you can see that from here or not. But if you look in here, you can see just inside here the thickness of the pad. It's down a bit, but there's a wee bit to go. You can see the other side from here. And check the back tyre. You see the wee markers in here. Once the tyre's flush with the wee marker, then it's time to change it. Tyre's gone a bit flat on the surface. I don't know if you can see that from the side, but it's a bit flat now with all the road use. But I do use it every day. These tyres have got a lot of wear, and like I say, I've done about 12,000 Ks. So while we're at it, check your fluid levels, make sure they're all up to scratch, and also we'll have a wee look. We'll have a wee look at the front brakes as well. Hang on, my camera's going funny. So you can check your front calipers as well. It's not so easy seeing, but yeah, you can use a mirror to get in there, or you can view it from down there. You can see what your calipers are like. Always worth keeping your brakes in tip top, and your fluid as well. Just a wee tip with the fluid, brake and clutch. When I got this bike, the end of last year, 1000 K, they changed the fluid in both reservoirs and the one in the back brake as well, because they reckon they'd been having a problem with moisture getting into the fluid, and what it was doing was the brakes weren't as efficient, and also these what do you call it, cylinders in here were rusting up due to the moisture. So if you get a KTM, make sure your dealer changes the fluid, because my dealer told me, or well, it's not a dealership I went to, it was actually a KTM shop. He said to me, he says KTM know there's moisture gets into them shipping it over, and it's them that recommend changing the fluid. So yeah, make sure they do it when you get the bike, or you could end up having to get that cylinder changed. Anyway, that's it. Grazed, cleaned, all ready to go for Monday. See you later.